Oh no. Not at kicking Jack out again. Jack, why do you keep getting kicked out of StreamYard?
I'm not
Why does
going to say the browser out loud, because if I do, the company will probably just try and make my experience worse.
yeah.
But anytime I full screen an application, like I
Uh-huh.
not make it windowed, but instead just make
Uh-huh.
it take up the full screen,
Uh-huh.
50% chance it refreshes the page.
That's good. That's
Uh,
good. If you're an audio listener with no clue what's going on, Jack keeps getting kicked from the studio because his browser is not good. But anyway, welcome to the Cup, the currently unnamed podcast where we put the tea in reality, and you can always come to us first to quench your thirst. I'm Logan Murphy, a say something gay. Gay here actually with something in a cup for once. Recently it's just been water, but inspired by Jack again. I made some English breakfast tea at 6:45 in the evening for me. So yeah, I was
does that
like,
have caffeine?
oh boy, does it.
Oh my god.
I sounded like a small child who was just given a lollipop. This is gonna be fun.
And my name is Jack. I am a Twitch streamer, college student, game designer, overall complete mess, coffee addict. But today, I am drinking an oolong tea because ooh, girl, has it been a long fucking night.
Oh, Jesus. Jesus Christ. Cheers to that, literally. Just,
It's nearly all gone already. And
Jack and I made it through it. Lana's here somewhere. She's coming.
Lana will be joining us when she is done with her org challenge. I have no room to speak on how long org challenges can be, seeing how Superman Survivor is infamous for having 2-hour long challenges when they should be an hour.
Mm-hmm.
We're great.
But in the meantime, we're going to be filling in the gaps that Lana has left for now and discussing what we now know to be the final pre-merge episode of Survivor 43.
It did feel like it was pretty fast.
Honestly, this episode just felt like a whole lot of nothing. If I'm being real, it just reinforced all of the things that we already knew. Like, I don't feel like I came out of this episode and learned anything.
The only thing that we learned is basically that time passed, certain people got advantages, and then certain advantages were just thrown out. Like,
actually, there is one thing we learned, and we'll talk about it very shortly, but it has nothing to do with the actual game.
Oh, nothing to do with the actual game. Yeah.
No. So we come back from Tribal. Lindsay was just voted out because her paranoia overcame her and all of that stuff. She's done interviews where she talks about like a lot of different things leading up to that elimination. I don't care to comment on it if I'm being 100% honest, but just like go check out Lindsay's interviews because she seems like a perfectly lovely woman and she's a super fan. So obviously we're gonna support her. But we come back and immediately Cassidy is just like, so who voted for me? So who put my name down? Who was it?
Okay. Cassidy, it's time to put your critical thinking hat on. Please. Please. Okay. Please.
Can anyone have a critical thinking hat on Survivor?
No. So Cassidy, there are two people who reasonably could have voted for you.
Yep.
One of them is the person who went home, but that wouldn't make any sense because why would she vote for you?
Yeah.
And your allies that you trust, they wouldn't have voted for you. So, by process of elimination, the only person that could have done that is Geo. Congratulations.
Plot
If
twist,
you
it
had,
was Carla.
uh, it's just like,
No. Yeah.
so weird.
I'm just like, I see a lot of people online. I'm gonna call it out actually. I see a lot of people online that are like, "Oh my god, Cassidy winner edit," and I don't remember who, so I won't call them out by name, but it's people we know. The Cassidy winner edit, and I'm like,
Are you sure?
I don't, bestie, I don't see it, but like, go off.
If you feel that way, I'm not gonna tell you you're wrong. Okay, I am
I
gonna tell you you're wrong, but I'm not going to like publicly intrude.
watch.
That's not my business.
I'm gonna pop back to this clip when Cassidy wins the season.
God damn it. Okay, fine.
No, I mean, I think Cassidy's been playing a good game, and like, I do think she's getting the edit of like in confessional explaining like how she wants to try to play the game, whereas most people were seeing them just play. She's actually getting the chance to explain the plays. Um, so I guess in that sense, I do understand where people are coming from, but I don't know. I don't really feel like I have a gauge on any sort of winner edit at this point. Um, but let's pop over to Baka because the one thing I learned from this episode, and I did mention it last episode, and I'm very happy that it was brought up. Janine's chin is finally healing.
It is. Like, it's so it is funny to see just like in the middle of everything. Like, it wasn't explained from the start.
I
It
was
just
gonna
like,
say, did we ever get an explanation for what
we
happened?
never
Okay.
acknowledged that. I believe it happened during the first, not like the opening challenge, but the first mini challenge that her chin was slightly split open. It just happened.
Oh.
And
Okay.
they never acknowledged it. And you can actually see it start to heal, which is weird. Which also means, at least for her, they can't throw things out of order because then the scar gets bigger and smaller, like all that.
Yeah, I do feel like we're getting a pretty accurate description of what's happening at Baka because we get a lot of time with Janine in this episode because, oh my gosh, someone at Vessi found the Beware advantage. Oh my god, someone at Coco found the Beware advantage. Guess what, Jack? Producers are going to very specifically plant the Beware advantage.
Yeah. And the exact thing that I thought of happened where I don't know. They finally just like gave the beads to it wasn't even like, because it was the third time we had seen it, they didn't spend any time on it. They were just like, okay, we're gonna quickly run through it. It's gonna be fine. We'll just it was like, oh no, someone's not gonna give me their bead. Oh my god, they gave me their bead. This is the third time we've seen this sequence. And I don't care as much this time.
Yeah, I saw someone. Oh, I wish I had screenshotted it because I meant to. But someone on Twitter was saying, "Oh, I wish every Beware advantage had been slightly different."
I don't.
Like across, I do and I don't.
Here's
I
the
think
thing.
it would have been, yeah.
So the reason I say it should stay the same is because then automatically, in terms of game balance, it's fair. Not only is it the exact same challenge for every single person who gets it, even if it is boring to the viewers, but if they go into the merge and just like talk, they're going to realize, oh shit, we just gave them an idol, didn't we? Like, basically what happened with Sammy and Gabler, that's going to happen with everyone else, just multiple episodes down the line. So how we've had the natural progression of, oh, Vessi finds the Beware advantage. Then Coco. Then name Baka found the advantage. Now we're going to get the exact opposite slope going down where Baka found out. Coco found out.
Yeah.
Vessi found out. And also, I mean, it was going to be a lot easier for people to find out simply because Janine and Ellie found it together and Owen walked in. Owen was just like,
yeah.
Hey.
And I love too that Ellie is like, let's tell Owen, and then Owen walks in. I'm like, you can't produce this any better. Like and then
I mean, it's showing even more how Owen is literally just like in the middle of everything. Like he literally is in the middle of the entire game where he walked in on Janine and Ellie finding out, but also he also is working with Sammy and Gabler. See, the part that screws with me here is that Janine and Ellie find it. Owen walks in on them.
Yeah.
Ellie tells Sammy.
Yeah, the idea was to just like to keep the information from Gabler, because in Ellie's mind, the four of them are aligned, and then Gabler's on the outside.
But if she talked to anyone else, literally anybody, she would have very quickly figured out that that's not true. Well, it just like, okay, so
Ellie
there
is
are now 2 idols.
There are 4 idols in play going into this merge, and we'll talk about those 4 idols, but I personally am very excited to see what happens. But yeah, the idea basically is to just keep the information from Gabler. Sammy obviously tells Gabler.
Afterwards, very specifically afterwards, because Sammy specifically said, I couldn't get to you in time to make you keep it.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that's Sammy attempting to weigh his options and say, hey, I'm kind of just like working with both sides, or it's Sammy just not telling him in time.
It seems like, at least my perception, like Sammy wants to get Janine out. Sammy feels like Janine is the threat. And so he's kind of hitched his wagon to Owen and Gabler. And that's the majority that he's kind of sticking with. And so unintentionally, Ellie is just like screwing Janine's game. Like, I'm going to be honest. I would not be surprised come merge next week if we lose Janine because of what Ellie has done to her game. And I don't want to see that because I really like Janine, but
it's a likely scenario.
Ellie has just done nothing for Janine's game positively. And neither of them are aware that what they're doing is negative, and that's kind of the worst part. But
yeah.
We're already at the immunity challenge, because this episode they said we are not doing any sort of filler. We are moving forward.
They went quick. I mean, literally, I had to look back at the oh god. Okay, so unrelated, but I did just read ahead because I'm using the Wikipedia article as a note.
Yeah.
The next episode is called Merge-atory, so that's bad.
Yeah,
but it is called just Merge-atory. But I did have to look down as I was watching the episode and say, wait, hold on. We're this deep in. Okay, this is the reward challenge, right? And then we're gonna get the same thing as before, where it's
reward.
No, this is immunity. What? Like it didn't feel like it should have been immunity, but it was.
Yeah,
and
I agree with you.
This immunity challenge was weird. There's
no puzzle. There's no puzzle. No puzzle.
There's no
There's
puzzle.
Not a puzzle.
There's not a puzzle, and it is a different dexterity challenge. But basically, 4 people tied, 4 people from each tribe, because that is the max at this point, tethered together with ropes and navigate, as my fucking heart gives out, are tethered together with ropes, and first have to get through what Jeff describes as chaos, getting through several random wooden beams that they definitely just placed, and then have to basically transfer a pot of water on a seesaw, trying to let as little drip out as possible. Once enough weight is in the receptacle, it drops a gate. And then finally, once that's all done, one member has to roll 3 balls up a slope. And once all 3 balls are on there and are not going back down, the tribe wins. I will say, I think they've done this ending before, like this specific dexterity challenge.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm very, very happy to see it back. It was very, very entertaining. It's something.
This is definitely a challenge that's floated between the CBS reality shows.
Yeah. And I mean, here is the fun thing. We get through the challenge, and everyone is doing reasonably well. I think it was Sammy for Baka.
Yeah.
Dwight for Coco.
Dwight for Vessi.
And Dwight for Vessi. And Ryan for Coco. So first to complete it is Dwight, I think.
Yeah.
And then so Vessi gets immunity, and was there a reward with this one? I don't remember. Large and small tarps. Large and small tarps.
Oh, tarps. In the 5th episode, on day 11, you're giving out tarps. True, but I was like, why are we only giving out tarps now, Jeff?
Because, fun fact, they're gonna merge anyway, so it doesn't fucking matter.
It literally does not matter.
And then Ryan has it lined up in such a way that literally he knows he can do it. And then he intentionally fucks it up. By his own wording, he throws because he wants to get rid of Cassidy. And he thinks he can do it. So, all the balls are lined up perfectly. He rolls it. Boom. It's gone. And Sammy can simply come on in, roll it back up, and he has it. And with that, Baka wins and sends Coco back to tribal, making this, funnily enough, a very straightforward tribal council progression where Baka went at the very beginning, then it was Vessi's turn for 2 times, and now it was Coco for 2 times. So basically, once a tribe went to tribal council, once or twice, depending on what they were doing, they got it. They were fine. They apparently dropped all the dead weight they ever needed. I'm still pissed about Mariah.
AKA women.
Women, yeah. No, it's.
Did you see? Oh, Jack, did you see?
It isn't lost on me that the first person to go, the first man to go from the season, the person who intentionally threw to make sure they went was also trying to get rid of a woman. It could have been 5 women in a row, and that would have actually been a record.
Yeah. Did you see the post that was going around Wednesday afternoon? That was like, who's going to get voted out tonight on Survivor? And it was just the 5 remaining women.
God,
it was just all 5 of them. It was Allie, it was Janine, it was Carla, it was Cassidy, and it was Noelle. And I was like, I swear to God. I wasn't.
I don't need that manifested.
No.
And it isn't lost on me that instead the only gay man left.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if you had looked at the tribe makeup, and this is something that we both felt throughout. It was obvious who was going once it happened.
Oh yeah.
So post challenge.
Yep.
We get the last journey of the pre-merge.
Potentially the last one for the season.
I mean,
Maybe.
they might send them back on a journey during the merge at some
Merge-atory,
point.
probably.
Merge-atory, whatever. Because I mean, there is 13 people in the merge. That is a lot of people.
Not for Survivor standards, no. For the new era, yeah, but
for the
it's
new
been
era,
about...
it is a lot. I mean, for a cast of 18, that's pretty big.
I'm not mad at it, I'll be honest.
I'm not mad at it, especially because they are going to be realistically merging with more than half the game left. But oh god. So funnily enough, once again with the journey, we technically see all three possible scenarios besides no one risking it, which realistically would not have ever happened because of how it was set up. Like, no one is just going to completely write no vote down and everyone just going to look at each other and say, oh, well, and then just walk off. No, that was never going to happen. We saw all three scenarios. We had a 2-person vote, a 2-person 1-1. We had a 1-person, I am taking this advantage. And now we had 3 people look at each other and say, okay, we're all doing this, right? Great. Alrighty.
So it's Jesse, Gio, and Janine are on the journey. Gio is like, well, I'm going to tribal. I'm in danger. I was in danger last night. No, you weren't.
Which is a complete lie. But
I mean,
honestly,
he was the original plan.
He was the original plan. He didn't realize he was the original plan, but he was actually telling the truth. He was unintentionally telling the truth.
Yeah. So yeah, like you said, all 3 of them decide to risk the vote, and we get Jesse opening his shell in front of his tribe, loses his vote. We get Janine coming back to her coming back to the camp, sneaking off because everyone's on taking a nap. Looks in the shell, realizes she doesn't have a vote, then comes back and reveals it to the tribe. I thought that was like
that is not a bad play.
No, not at all, because at least you know what the outcome is.
Yeah.
But I love the, oh no, I don't have a vote. I loved it. It was so camp.
It was so good.
Janine.
It was so good.
This. And Gio, of course, gets the advantage. And he decides to open it in front of Carla. Not a smart idea in hindsight, but Gio gets the knowledge is power advantage, which we saw on both.
To be clear, no, I hate the knowledge is power for a variety of reasons. It makes me actively want to die. But I'm sorry, it's just a very visceral reaction to what we've seen. I've literally had this play out in the org I run. It did the same thing. People do not know to shut up. So I was totally expecting for the exact same scenario to happen where, oh, Gio opened his mouth.
Yeah.
You literally saw this play out. Like, you don't have an excuse here. If you watch Survivor 41, you saw this play out.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so frustrating, because surprise, surprise, Carla is like, I don't want this, because you just told the person who now has an idol that you can steal that idol if they ever figure it out. And guess what's happening when the merge comes? The other two tribes are going to come in, and Gio's going to realize, oh shit, Carla has an idol. So, Carla immediately is like, do we vote Ryan? Do we vote Gio? Do we vote Cassidy? Because the exact same thing is happening again.
I would say to a lesser extent. So the original vote for James, Carla, and Cassidy was going to be Ryan. They decide, because of this information that they now have, they want to switch to Gio. I don't think Carla tells Cassidy about this information, which
definitely doesn't.
In hindsight doesn't matter.
Actually,
but it may,
I don't think she tells him I don't think she tells her exactly why. I don't think that ever
she just
happens.
Says he came back from the journey with something.
He came back with the journey with something. I think if she specifically said knowledge is power, Cassidy would have been like, why does that matter to you? Like, that doesn't hurt me.
Valid. I also think Cassidy may have been like, oh, he has an actual advantage. Maybe she would have been more concretely on board earlier.
Yeah.
Is at least the perspective I got from it.
And once again, let's just quickly reiterate that Ryan attempted to throw this challenge, and then he ended up being discussed as a name, which is a fucking hilarious.
I love it.
But we go to Tribal, and everyone is talking. It's the same song and dance as before.
Oh my god, we just have to keep the tribe strong. We just need tribe strength.
Can you define momentum for me?
I hated this.
For me,
much.
There was something about this episode, and I think it was that last moment of like Tribal and immediately jumping into the momentum question. For some reason, this whole episode felt rushed. It felt very, very rushed. It felt like we were hitting beats after beats after beats, and there was no room to slow down. And I'm very confused why.
Okay, I'm going to answer your question with a question then. Do you feel this way typically about the final episode of the pre-merge of season? Because I don't personally remember feeling that way. And I don't know. I mean, you could go watch our coverage of Survivor 42, because that is on the internet for people to. I'm not saying do it now. I'm just saying, no. I don't know whether in episode 6 of Survivor 42 we felt this exact same way with whoever.
I am gonna quickly, just to refresh my memory, look at what the summary for the pre-merge episode was. Oh, yep. I'm trying to remember. Divided into okay. So what the merge actually ended at the exact same point the last season as well, and that's why I'm just comparing it off that.
Oh, okay.
Selected for the summit, purposely withheld. No. Okay, that's why.
And I didn't feel any sort of like rushed or anything like that because of who got eliminated. Because it was a very obvious, like, this is how they're voting situation.
Yeah. And also, it was also a more interesting vote of, oh my god, they actually tied it. Here,
Yeah.
it very much felt like it was rushed, and I don't know exactly why. And later on, because of course we do multiple things at a time, the other thing that we're going to be talking about like later, I felt the exact same way for some reason.
I did too.
I
Yeah.
don't know
Or
what it was.
Amazing Grace, which will be out
Yeah.
shortly after this one is.
Okay.
But
So
yeah, I felt that same way.
maybe it was me watching the challenge beforehand and
You know, that
finishing the
might be it.
mole. Maybe it was watching the challenge beforehand along with the Genius Netherlands and watching the mole afterwards. Maybe that did it, but
Sure.
it definitely felt like these two episodes, especially when watched back to back, were much faster and much more rushed for some reason.
Yeah.
And I can't exactly explain why.
I agree with that. Well,
But
we go to the vote. It's a 2 votes Geo, 2 votes Cassidy. Oh my gosh, what's gonna happen? Bye, Geo.
yeah, no. If I mean, here's the thing. Geo had been talked about as a name literally since the last episode because, of course, they did. And it was supposed to be Geo, but Lindsay decided to get extremely paranoid. So this just felt.
Yeah.
It just felt like the second option just happened, which, I mean, it was for a it was for a different circumstance, but still, it felt like, okay, I'm not surprised by this outcome.
No, and I don't think Geo really did anything to help himself in that regard, because he thought he was in the majority and he thought he knew everything that was happening, and even after Lindsay got voted out, he still thought he knew where all the votes were, and
he was wrong.
I don't know. And that's the pre-merge. Pre-merge is done. Pre-merge is over.
Pre-merge is canceled. Tribes are going to be no more. I will say it is not the same twist as before. Jeff has very, very explicitly stated that people did not like the hourglass twist.
Yeah.
And they are listening, and they are not doing it again.
They're also not doing the do or die.
They're also not doing the do or die for the exact same reason. Because
I hated that.
I don't. The thing is, when you play games, the worst thing you can do is have a decision that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Have a decision that, based off of something else, does not work. Like, for example, okay, you guys want immunity. Based on something you physically cannot control, you guys no longer have immunity.
Yeah.
You're fucked. Have fun. You dropped out of the challenge first. Now, this entire vote can get canceled out of a 2 in 3 chance. And let me just state for the record, they both should have gone home. They both played the Monty Hall problem wrong. That is classic game theory. That is bullshit that they both survived. It is the survivor gods telling us we don't like this twist.
Yeah.
But do you have any guesses as to what happens? Like, what would be your idea for what happens during this little boot? Because I have one idea in mind.
I honestly feel like they might revert back to traditional, let's just start with an individual immunity. And it's just a 13-person vote. That's kind of really the only thought I had. I don't know what you were thinking.
See, my brain immediately goes to, they probably liked what they did before. They probably like the whole thing about splitting the tribes and all that. So what I assume they're going to do is, in fact, have an individual immunity challenge.
Yeah.
The winner is safe. And
Yeah.
then through some other method, a tribe draft is formed, and those two tribes go to tribal.
Oh, a double.
Both players
double
are voted out. Those are the last two merge boots. And then we get to those are the last two players booted before the jury. And then the jury starts with 11. Because I don't think they're going to run with 9. I don't think they're going to run with 9 jury members. That introduces problems that CBS doesn't want to deal with, especially because here's the thing that I think about. My idea is that the finale is going to be held the exact same way that 41 and 42 was, because still, they didn't have exactly a good idea on what was going to happen during COVID and all that, and they just didn't want to deal with it. So they're not going to risk a potential 3-3-3 vote. They just aren't going to. Because what do you do in that scenario?
Yeah.
There is nothing you can do. Because the theory that everyone has been working off due to some old interview is that if that were to happen, a vote would take place from America that casts the final jury vote. However, that definitely can't happen. So, I mean, I expect 2 people to go. I expect, just so you can all write it down, 1 person wins immunity, 2 other people get to draft tribes. Well, tribes, more like groups. Those 2 groups have a vote, and they're sent off to separate camps while the 1 person who's safe gets to go to exile, because it's a reverse of what was done before, and that's really entertaining. And then 2 people go home, and we go to the merge. We go to the official merge, not Merge-atory, with 11.
I can see it. Yeah.
That is my official prediction. And if I'm wrong, no, I wasn't. I did not say anything. This podcast will self-destruct. Anyway.
Not that. Well, I guess now it's a good time to leave because it's going to self-destruct. But
yeah. So if this was wrong, we have about a minute left before both of our rooms explode. So we do got to get out of here.
Yeah, tune in next week where we talk about Merge-atory.
God, Merge-atory.
Goodbye.
I think Lana was in Merge-atory.
Yeah, Lana's stuck in Merge-atory the whole episode. She'll be back.